Right then, hybrid. Should we or shouldn't we take the divot? I'm not sure actually. Just swing it, do it like I would, but don't top it. Awful strike again. Right then, hybrids, like the video says, how do we hit a hybrid? Question that I am getting asked quite a lot from lessons when they're coming in and they say, you know what, I'm struggling with this club. Is it an iron? Is it a wood? What do I do? Where does it go in my stance? Do I take a divot? Am I trying to hit up on it? I don't know how to play it. So in today's video, we're gonna answer those questions for you on how you should be playing your hybrid. Guys, I'm Matt Fryer. If you're new to the channel and you do enjoy this lesson, hit the like button. Also do hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any future lessons as well. Right then, so for me, I've got a 19-degree hybrid here. It replaces my 3-iron and it's quite a good club, very versatile. I can use it off the tee, I can use it going into par 5s, I can use it out of the rough, I even use it for chipping sometimes. So it's a great club to have in your bag. But is it a wood, is it an iron? Now, if we look at the actual shaping of the head and what it looks like, it's not quite an iron and it's not quite a wood. It's got the shallow face like a wood, but probably a little bit deeper than my 3 wood. But it's not got quite the soul of an iron or a wood, quite compressed, quite small. Now, for me, you might see different guides when you're watching this. This is how I try and teach my students how to hit hybrids, and it seems to work, and this, you know, seems to be what a lot of people do when you look at TrackMan data and stuff. Everyone seems to be falling into this suit. So first things first, it's a replacement for a long iron. So if we were to look at ball position, what we would need is something where the ball is going to be similar to where we'd have a 3-iron or a 5 wood or a 7 wood. So if I were to take my stance and we have the middle of my body here, what we're looking for is something where the ball is now in front. So for me, I tell people that I'd ideally like you to place it about an inch behind your lead heel. So I'm not going to have it where I'd have my 3 wood if I was teeing off, or my driver here. I'm going to have it about an inch behind there. So it's going to be about here in my stance. In terms of stance width as I stand to it, it's not that I'm hitting a small pitch, it's not that I'm hitting my driver. So I'm just going to adopt something where it's just in between a normal iron, sort of 6-7 iron, and my fairway wood. I'm going to see that the insoles of my shoes now are actually up towards my armpit here. So we see that I've got a good solid base. I'm going to adopt the tiniest amount of tilt, and because it's a long club anyway and the ball's gone further up my stance, you will see that my spine tilts ever so slightly anyway when I do put it into that position. So that's there, that's ball position covered. And the reason we're going to have the ball in that position is because it hasn't got much loft on it. Still got quite a bit compared to my driver, but it's not got as much as, say, my 7-iron or my 6-iron. So by putting it up in my stance, it's going to actually adjust where the club's coming down in the arc of the swing. What we'd want from a 7-iron is that we're hitting roughly about 3 or 4 degrees down, so we'd want ball then turf contact. With this, we still want ball then turf contacts. That's the big thing that you want to take away from this video. We're not trying to help it up like we would a driver. We want to see that we're still trying to get a bit of ball and then the club bottoming out just after the ball, so we take a big divot. The thing is with this though, because it's not built like one of your irons, it's not going to take that huge divot as if you were hitting a pitching wedge in. Because it's a small, shallow base to the club and it's got that little bit of meat there, it's actually going to just breeze across the surface a little bit more. So once you've got the ball further up in your stance and you're making the swings, what you'll notice, and if you might just pick that up on the microphones, is that we get more of a brushing of the ground. It's not a huge divot, it's just this little sort of grazing of the turf. And by me moving my ball up my stance, taking the correct address and making the swing where I aim to take a divot, all I'm going to do is get that little bit of brushing of the turf. So once I then take my address and make the swing, what we should see is something where we get a solid, pretty good contact, just like I say, this little bit of ball and turf. And that would still go for if we were using a T-peg. So if I were to peg this one up here, when we are pegging the ball up, we're going to peg it up as if we were hitting an iron on a par 3. We're not going to have it raised up loads, because all we want to see is that half the golf ball is pretty much above the face of the driver. If I have that any further up, there's chances of me going underneath the ball, getting that skied one. Like I say, we're still trying to get ball and turf contact, so by making the ball just pegged down ever so slightly, I've still got the appropriate amount of ball above the club face. Once you're into the swing, then what we want to see is something like your normal golf swing. Committed. We want to see that the weight's moving forwards and we're turning into our finish. Again, because it's not got a lot of loft, what I see a lot of people doing is hanging back and hitting off their back foot or off the toes in an aid to try and get this rescue wood up. We want to make that committed swing like we would do with an iron and see that the weight moves forwards and we get that club just bottoming out just after the golf ball, and we get the nice ball, then a little grazing of the turf strike as we're going through just there. So we know where the ball's going to be in our stance now. We're going to place it an inch behind our lead heel. We're going to take a good set up here, nice solid base, and we're going to aim to work the weight forwards and just hit ball and turf, even if it is off a tee peg like this one, and see that we get a solid strike just like this. Absolutely flushed that. And here, you won't be able to see it on the camera, I've got a divot about half an inch after my golf ball. I say a divot, it looks like someone's just scuffed the foot ever so slightly on the ground. It was off the tee peg, the tee peg's there, I've just nicked it off and got that crisp, clean, lovely strike. Nice high flight from it because of the way the club's built. So when you are starting to play your hybrids, guys, follow those simple and easy steps. Let's see that the ball's an inch behind our lead heel. Let's see that we've built a good solid stance and we're aiming to make a good swing where we transfer the weight forwards and get the club just bottoming out just after the golf ball, and we should see that we're making the most of these fantastic hybrid clubs. Guys, I hope you've enjoyed the lesson this week. If you have, do hit the like button down below. Also, do remember to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any future lessons. And if you do want to come and see me in person, all the information is down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in your next golf lesson.